Namaskar. A very good morning to all present here. We gather here today not only to celebrate the life and work of a visionary, but also to reflect on her legacy that continues to inspire us all. With immense pride and pleasure, I, Dr. Asha Latwal, on behalf of India Meteorological Department, IMD, extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each and every one of you on this special occasion of Annamani Memorial Lecture as part of the celebrations commemorating 150 years of IMD's dedicated services to the nation. This event is organized to commemorate and celebrate the remarkable life and contributions of Miss Annamani Madam, a trailblazer in the field of meteorology, a tireless advocate for the advancement of science, and a true pioneer in her groundbreaking contributions to atmospheric science and instrumentation. Today, through this memorial lecture, we honor her enduring influence and her commitment to knowledge, innovation, and progress. Without further delay, let us officially start this event and set the stage for an enriching and memorable experience ahead. Now, I request today's distinguished guests to kindly come forward and take their places on the dais. Dr. R. Kelkar sir, former DGM IMD, Dr. R. Krishnan sir, Director IITM Pune, Shri C.G. Rahalkar sir, former Director IMD Pune, Dr. Soma Sen Roy Madam, Scientist F, IMD New Delhi, Shri K.S. Hosalikar sir, Head CRS IMD Pune, and Dr. Kripan Ghosh sir, Head Agreement Division IMD Pune. Thank you all. I extend a warm welcome to our today's chief guest, the Director General of Meteorology, IMD, Dr. Mrityunjay Mahapatra sir, who has joined this event virtually. Welcome, sir. It is our privilege to have our Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. M. Ravichandran sir with us, who have also joined this event virtually. I welcome you, sir. We have one guest who is the author of biography of Miss Annamani Madam, Dr. Asha Gopinathan, who is joined virtually. I welcome you, ma'am. Thank you all for gracing this occasion with your esteemed presence. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. As sunlight expels the darkness, similarly, blessings bring prosperity and happiness in our life. To make this event a blessed one, we will start this ceremony by lighting the lamp. I extend a warm invitation to our chief guest and all the dignitaries present on the dais to join us in this auspicious moment. I also invite Srimati Aparna Khetkar, Srimati Deepa Kulkarni, and Ms. Tanu Sharma to sing a Saraswati Vandana.
माता सरस्वती शारदा, हे माता सरस्वती शारदा, विद्यादानी दयानी दुःखहरणी, जगत जननी ज्वाला मुखी माता सरस्वती शारदा, हे माता सरस्वती शारदा, कीजे सुदृष्टि, कीजे सुदृष्टि, सेवक जान अपना, इतना वरदान दीजे, कान काल और अलाप, बुद्धि अलंकार, शारदा, हे माता सरस्वती शारदा, विद्यादानी दयानी दुःखहरणी, जगत जननी ज्वाला मुखी माता सरस्वती शारदा, हे माता सरस्वती शारदा, हे माता सरस्वती शारदा.
Thank you, wonderful ladies, for setting the tone of our program with such a melodious beginning. Let us welcome our esteemed guests and dignitaries with a bouquet of flowers. I would like to request Shri K.S. Ushalikar sir to extend a warm welcome to Dr. R.R. Kelkar sir, former DGM IMD. Once again, I request Ushalikar sir to welcome Shri Dr. R. Krishnan sir, Director IITM. I again request Shri K.S. Ushalikar sir to welcome Shri C.G. Rahalkar sir. I would invite Dr. Kripan Ghosh sir to welcome Dr. Soma Sen Roy madam. We have one special guest with us. I would like to request Shri K.S. Ushalikar sir to welcome Dr. Ashish Lele sir, Director of CSIR National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. I request Dr. Kripan Ghosh sir to welcome Head CRS Shri K.S. Ushalikar sir. I would request Dr. Satyaban Bishoy Ratna sir to welcome Dr. Kripan Ghosh sir. Thank you all. To commemorate the remarkable 150 years journey of IMD, theme song of IMD has been composed that echoes IMD's legacy and dedication and highlights the evolution and services provided by IMD for the country and the international community in the principle of Sarvjan Hitaye, Sarvjan Sukhaye, that is commitment to work for the welfare of all. Let us experience threads of weather and climate services with the harmony of music.
मौसम विभाग वंदे, मौसम विभाग वंदे। हम हर मौसम पढ़ने वाले, मानव जीवन के रखवाले। वसुधा परिवार हमारा है, मौसम विज्ञान सहारा है।
पृथ्वी की गतियों का विधान, ऋतुओं का शाश्वत संविधान।
जलवायु और पर्यावरण के परिवर्तन का ध्यान।
आपदाओं से हो सतर्क सब IMD अभियान। ये मौसम ज्ञान पुरातन, नवल विज्ञान प्रभावन। जल थल अंबर हर गांव नगर, पर्वत घाटी जंगल सागर। जीते हम संग फिजाओं के, लाते संदेश हवाओं के।
सहयोगी मित्र किसानों के, जन जीवन की मुस्कानों के। कर्तव्य निष्ठ मौसम प्रहरी, जन सेवा में आस्था गहरी।
करते अध्ययन तूफानों के, नव चक्रवात अनुमानों के।
जन धन जीवन रहे सुरक्षित, मंथन अनुसंधान। मानवता के लिए समर्पित मौसम का विज्ञान, मानसून संज्ञान।
ज्ञान पुरातन, अमर वरदान सुहावन।
वैदिक संस्कृति का नव विहान, ऋषि चाणक्य का अर्थ ज्ञान। कवि कालिदास के मेघदूत, आदित्य प्रभा के अग्रदूत।
मौसम उपग्रह का दिग्दर्शन, ऋतु चक्र प्रवर्तन विश्लेषण।
भारत के स्वर्णिम कल के लिए, शुचि मन में दृढ़ संकल्प लिए।
साक्षी समृद्ध विरासत के, हम गौरव प्यारे भारत के।
पूर्व पश्चिम उत्तर दक्षिण, शुभ कर्म योग संधान। सीमाओं के पार हमारी करुणा की पहचान, सहयोगी गुणगान।
मौसम ज्ञान पुरातन, अमर विज्ञान पुरातन। मौसम विभाग वंदे, मौसम विभाग वंदे। मौसम विभाग वंदे, मौसम विभाग वंदे।
I am grateful to all the contributors for this theme song of IMD. Now I would request Shri K.S. Hosalikar Sir, Head CRS IMD Pune, to deliver a welcome address.
Good morning, Suprabhat, and indeed it's a great pleasure to be today here on the dais in the campus of IITM Pune Meghdut, a very wonderful gathering by number of participants on the last day of the year, something which pleases me and which pleases the entire audience, indicating the importance and the highlighting the work done by Ms. Annamani, for whom we are arranging this a memorial talk or memorial lecture. So on behalf of CRS office Pune, indeed it is my great pleasure to invite and welcome Dr. Ravichandran sir, Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Earth Science, who has joined here with us online, who has been always actively supporting, guiding, encouraging the activities of IMD and of course the CRS Climate Research and Services Office also. Indeed, it's a great pleasure to have Secretary Saab you online, and definitely we would like to hear from you during this inaugural program also. I take this opportunity to welcome our beloved Director General of Meteorology, Dr. Mrityunjay Mohapatra, who is again joined with us online, and because of certain urgent commitments which came suddenly, he could not come in the physical mode, but he promised that he will come online. So sir is online with us here, and this program, Annamani Program Memorial Talk, is one of the event in 150-year celebration of India Meteorological Department's climate and weather services to the entire nation. So as a part of that, this event is being organized, and there has been lot of guidances, lot of input from DGM sir also to proceed with, to bring the resource person and the entire the coordination that is required from start to end. So definitely I think we are looking forward to hear from DGM, Dr. Mahapatraji also today in the inaugural talk. We also have one more person online, Asha Swaminathan. She is a editor, and she is already, she has written a couple of books, very good books, and she's already almost in the finalization state of, a book on Annamani, which is supported by Ministry of Earth Science. So she's also joined us from Trivandrum online, and definitely we would like to hear from her also during the expert talk or the resource person talk. So I welcome Dr. Asha to you also. On the dais, we have some of the eminent galaxies of the people here. To begin with, Dr. R.R. Kelkar, ज्यांना आपण गुरुतुल्य म्हणतो, तर ते तशा प्रकारचे एक व्यक्तिमत्व आहे. आणि when we see and when we look at him, we sometimes feel that we are older than him and he is younger than us, with the type of energy, type of enthusiasm, and his activities, if you compare, probably our proportion is only 1:10 or 1:100. So I welcome Kelkar Saab. He is the one who had an opportunity to work with Annamani madam during the period when both of them were at CRS Pune. At that time the office was not called as CRS Pune, it was a different office, ADGMR office at that time, or maybe something more than that. So we welcome Dr. R.R. Kelkar, former DG IMD, to this program, and we will definitely listen from him also during the expert or the technical talks that we have arranged here. We also have our very, I can say, my friend and my good friend and my good colleague, and always supporting the IMD activities, Dr. Krishnan sir. And indeed, he is the director IITM, as we all know, and he has been very cooperative, very helpful, and very resourceful in all the activities that are related to the science and the technology. And as a part of Ministry of Earth Science activity, Krishnan sir never said no to anything to any of us, and that is how today we are sitting here in the Meghdut campus. Sir, thank you very much, and definitely we will have an opportunity to listen from Krishnan sir also. I welcome you formally. We have two more guests here, but they are not guests as such, but they are our own colleagues. We have Dr. Soma Senroy, and she is coming from IMD headquarters. She is working in National Weather Forecasting Services at Delhi, and because DG said that okay, the representation, and there should be somebody who would be a lady scientist. We have so many lady scientists here. I see Dr. Tara is there, Dr. Rahalkar's daughter is there, and so many scientists from IMD, women scientists from IMD, IITM, and various other institutes I am seeing there. I really bow to all of you for your good work that you are doing, and indeed it's a great pleasure to have all of you here in this gathering, which is meant for a tribute to the Annamani. A symbolic tribute, it's such a legendary lady. It is impossible, to have, a fully justified tribute to her for her work. We also have Dr. Rahalkar sir. He is sitting next to Dr. Kelkar sir, one of the oldest guy in the team, I can say. But at the same time, if you see the energy level, probably I think we need to ask him how he maintains this type of energy level. He was here in CRS office couple of times. when we started interacting with him, and thank you to his daughter also, and she managed him to bring it to CRS office. We had a lot of discussion, and then from the discussion I came to know that Ralkar sir was the one who was, had an opportunity, to work with madam. So all these people who have been working with madam, I think since you are in Pune, I have a liberty to speak something in Marathi also. It is called as parisasparsha. Something, when you touch, paris is something that, wherever it will touch, it will turn into the gold. Okay. So these are the people who have worked with madam, who had an opportunity to work with madam under the guidance of the madam, under technical and scientific support of the madam. I am sure they are nothing less than the gold, maybe the diamond, or maybe more than that. So this is something that we have, a great galaxy of the people here. And of course, my friend, Dr. Kripan Ghosh, who is here, who is a coordinator for the entire 150-year celebration program for the climate research and services for the Pune office. So I also welcome Dr. Kripan Ghosh here. And before I conclude, let me mention about my another senior colleague, Dr. Ashish Lele sir. So thank you very much for making this possible. And indeed, I think Lele Saab, who is director NCL, doesn't require much introduction. It is said that probably he comes, maybe in 3%, of the at the national level. The scientist, if you take with the credits, probably he comes in the first 3% or maybe lesser than that. So some of he is a very eminent scientist at national and international level. So we are very pleased to have you here. At the same time, we have Gupta Saab here, Kashyapi Saab is there, our my mentor Vashish Saab is also there, and there are some old colleagues who have been working with madam, and there are IMS people, IITM colleagues, my friends from CDAC, and then there are many other friends. I see Khare Saab is also there. So many people are there. It's indeed a great gathering here for me. If I missed out somebody, but I wish and I welcome you a great morning today, and definitely whatever talks that are planned here from the eminent speakers who are going to discuss about their experiences, with working with madam. And it will be indeed something that, we will cherish it for the, the entire 2025, which is going to start from tomorrow. So before I stop here, I wish you a very happy new year for the 2025. And I stop. आपल्या सर्वांचं परत एकदा मनापासून ह्या कार्यक्रमामध्ये स्वागत आहे. आणि पुढच्या 1-2 तासामध्ये आपण ह्या सर्व मोठ्या वक्त्यांकडून जे काय ऐकणार आहात, मला असं वाटतं की ती आयुष्यभराची एक शिदोरी असेल तुमच्यासाठी टू मूव फॉरवर्ड अहेड. अँड आय विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. नमस्कार.
Thank you, sir, for your warm address and briefly explained the agenda of today's memorial lecture. Now, I would request Dr. R. Krishnan, sir, Director IITM, to address the gathering.
All the respected dignitaries of this stage, first of all, our Honorable Secretary, Dr. M. Ravichandran, DGI IMD, Dr. Mrutyunjay Mahapatra, and also dignitaries on the stage, Dr. Kelkar Saab, who is going to give the lecture today, special lecture, Dr. Hosalikar Ji, Head CRS IMD, Dr. Soma Sen Roy from IMD New Delhi, Dr. Kripan Ghosh, and also on this stage we have Sri Rahalkar, former director of IMD, and all the dignitaries of this stage. We have Dr. Ashish Lele, director NCL. We have Dr. Vasisht, who's also retired scientist from IMD. Also Dr. Kashyapi Saab, Dr. Gupta Saab, and all my colleagues from IITM, senior scientists, and also from CDAC, from IMD. So I extend a warm welcome to all of you to this very important event on Miss Annamani Memorial Lecture, which is going to be delivered later by Dr. Kelkar Saab as part of the 150 years of celebration of IMD, which is really historical moment, because somebody was telling me it is not not just 150 years, it's 150 years a very long time. It's not only for meteorology or India, it is for the entire humanity. This is a big event. And so it's very apt that we are honoring a great scientist, paying our tributes to a legend and a visionary in meteorology and atmospheric science like Miss Anna Mani, who did pioneering contributions both in instrumentation and in meteorology. Although I never had an opportunity to meet her or talk to her, I learned from several people, very eminent people, including Sikka Saab, Professor Sikka Saab, about the work she did on solar radiation measurements. And also now we are talking about dimming due to aerosols. All these, Dr. Vasisht has done a lot of work on that. So thanks to the solar radiation measurements that which she started long back. And we are also talking about renewable energy. And she also made a lot of contributions in ozone studies in India way back in the 60s and 70s. And I think she also worked on renewable energies like the wind power, and which is need of the hour today. Dr. Ashish Lele is here. He is working on green hydrogen. And so with all this climate change and all these gases like greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane going in the atmosphere, so it is very important how are we going to mitigate them. It's going to take long time. So renewable energy becomes very, very important when we are thinking of sustainable development in the future. So she had the vision long back, I think ahead of times. She was really ahead of times. And so I'm very happy that this event is being organized at IITM Pune and as part of the 150 years of IMD celebrations. And I welcome you all to this event, and we are looking forward to Dr. Kelkar Saab's lecture, and also we would like to listen from Dr. Halkar about his interactions with Ms. Anna Mani. And also we have some speakers who are attending online, Dr. Asha Gopinathan, who will be talking later on, who's writing. So once again, I welcome her as well, and all the other online participants. And so with these few words, once again, welcome you all to this important occasion, and thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words and your kind support in hosting this event at your esteemed institution. Now, I humbly request Dr. Soma Sen Roy, Madam, IMD New Delhi, to kindly deliver her address to the gathering.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I think you can hear me. Respected Secretary, sir, DGM, sir, Director, IITM, sir. I have a lot of seniors, and it's an honor to be sitting on the dais with them on such a good occasion as remembering Dr. Anna Mani. I will just go off the topic a little bit and see, when we are all children, in a sense, and the parents are not at home, first there's a sense of total freedom. We can do anything we want. And then comes the sense of, fights start out, messes happen, things are not as expected. And I feel that when we got independence in 1947, especially in the sciences, we were pretty much like children. That leadership role, or to shape the new future of meteorology, there was a need for somebody to take the responsibility, some people to take the responsibility and carry the department forward, meteorology forward. So there were people like Dr. Anna Mani, who joined in 1948. If you see her career, as I think Kelkar sir will say, she had ample opportunities to work she was in Imperial College London. She had a very good career much before she joined IMD. But to take this kind of a fledgling department ahead, not a fledgling maybe, but a department which was now totally in the control of Indians, to the level that she did. See, one of our biggest strengths is our data. Meteorology progresses through understanding of the weather phenomena. This is something that she worked in, and this is something that is the biggest contribution why we are remembering her. That is why her footprint is huge in the field of meteorology. I will keep it very brief. Just one sentence, again, she had quoted, I think, in reply to some interview. She said, being a woman never figured in achieving my goals. This is a very big statement. We all come every day to office with some problems or the other, and so did she. But within the system, staying within the system, managing the entire, the same file work, purchase procedure that we face when we push a case, she managed to do so much in her career. I think we need to learn much more from her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam, for such an inspiring address. Your thoughtful perspective has truly enriched us. A souvenir has been prepared to give a special tribute to Ms. Annamani, madam. I would request our chief guest and all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly release the souvenir. The information presented in the souvenir has been compiled by CRS IMD Pune from various reliable sources, including online platforms, published research articles, media reports, and electronic resources. Annamani's madam's pioneering work in the in-house development and standardization of surface meteorological instruments, radiation instruments, and the ozone sonde system at IMD significantly strengthened the foundation of IMD's operations. Her work in designing and calibrating these instruments not only enhanced the accuracy of weather predictions but also helped establishing India's credibility in the global meteorological community. Her commitment to precision and her relentless pursuit of scientific excellence have left an indelible mark on the field of meteorology, and her legacy continues to inspire new generations. Thank you all. Now it's time to felicitate all the dignitaries on the dais. So I first would like to request Khoshalekar sir to kindly felicitate Dr. R. Kelkar sir, former DGM IMD. Now, I request Khoshalekar sir to kindly felicitate Dr. R. Krishnan sir, Director IITM Pune. On behalf of DGM sir, we are felicitating Dr. Soma madam. So I request Khoshalekar sir to kindly felicitate her. I request Khoshalekar sir to kindly felicitate Dr. Ashish Lele sir, Director CSIR, National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. I once again request Hushalika sir to kindly felicitate Shri C.G. Rahalkar sir, former director IMD. Thank you so much, sir. Today, we are honored to have with us our distinguished Director General of Meteorology, IMD, Dr. M. Mahapatra, sir, who is set to share his expertise and perspective with us. His wealth of knowledge and extensive experience in the realm of weather and climate services will undoubtedly enhance our discussion. Now, I would invite respected DGM, sir, to kindly deliver his keynote address.
Namaskar, good morning to all of you. Respected Secretary, Minister of Earth Sciences, Dr. M. Ravichandran. Respected former Director General of Meteorology, Dr. R. Kelkar. Dr. Ashish Lele, Director, National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. Dr. Rahalkar, former Director, IMD Pune. Dr. Asha Madam, my colleague, Dr. Hosalikar, Dr. Soma, and dear Dr. R. Krishnan, Director, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I express my deep gratitude to Dr. R. Kelkar, Dr. Ashish Lele, to Asha Madam, to Dr. Krishnan for their physical presence in IITM to celebrate the success story and to honor Madam Anna Mani. I also express my deep gratitude to Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary, Minister of Earth Sciences, whose guidance and suggestions have made this day successful. As all of us know, we are celebrating 150 years of India Meteorological Department, which came into existence on 15 January 1875. Gradually, it passed through various stages like nascent stage. Then it grew during the time of the World War I and World War II. By that way, it gained its importance by providing the services, starting with the disaster management, then agriculture, and then finally the aviations. While moving through all this, the country realized that the observation is key to the success in terms of providing the weather forecast and services. There were many attempts to develop indigenously the instruments which can be utilized by IMD. But however, there was no such major thrust till the independence. Of course, we come up with few scientific innovations, including the relationship between Himalayan snow cover and monsoon, relationship between Southern Oscillation Index and monsoon, and by the discovery of North Atlantic oscillations and many other oscillations. So finally, when the country got independence in 1947, there was a paradigm shift in the approach, and people thought about the self-reliance and development of a system which can take care of its own. Country was free from the foreigners, and our own people started taking over in all aspects of meteorology. As all of us know, the meteorology is a multidisciplinary science where you have got a mixed mindset of from various background. And by that way, we remember Dr. Anna Mani today, who ventured to this field and took up the challenge, even if she has got a bright future in UK. She has been a bright student from the very beginning. After her birth on 23rd August 1918, she scaled many new heights in her student's career. She could get the study from Presidency College, Chennai, and also from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. She is mentored by Sir C.V. Raman. She has been acquainted with many giants globally, and by that way, she could establish herself not only a student, but also as a researcher, as an academician, and also as a developer. When you think of any innovation with respect to instruments in India Meteorological Department, certainly Ms. Anna Mani come to the front. We all remember her contribution towards the solar energy, solar radiations. When countries thinking of now the renewable energy, you can just think about that, how futuristic was her ideas, how innovative was her ideas, and how she could apprehend, how she could dream the society which will grow after 100 years. And she could contribute, therefore, largely towards developing the solar radiation instruments, and hence the solar energy potential has been prepared by IMD because of her contributions, which is helping the country to augment our non-conventional energy, including solar. Not only that, she also contributed to a large extent towards wind energy. So our contribution towards the development of wind energy, understanding, and also the instrumentation help a lot when we think about the wind energy potential today. When we grew up, there was no such standardization, there was no such policy. Ms. Anna Mani contributed significantly towards development of the standardizations. She worked towards standardized instruments which could be utilized especially for the surface measurements of the various weather parameters. She contributed significantly towards the surface instrument division and also the upper air instruments both in Delhi and Pune. Her contribution is remembered everyone who has worked within IMD or outside IMD. She has been a role model. She has been a symbol of hope and aspirations which the youngsters can follow and grow and can think about everything is possible if there is a will. So he was of opinion that the quality should be maintained each and every aspect. So while considering instruments, she always insisted that wrong observations should not be considered. And if you have wrong observations, better not to take the observations instead of going for the right observations. As all of us know that how observation important is in the numerical modeling now. And our observations could not be considered, for example, upper air observations when it was not GPS based by the numerical global models. So that insistence helped IMD to develop and to be recognized as a world leader with respect to surface instruments development, comparison, calibrations, and provided support to many countries over the years. People think about the environment, people think about the ozone depletions, and this is Ms. Anna Mani who could think about the indigenous development of the ozone Sunday, indigenous development of the ozone instruments, which can take care of the monitoring of the environment. And her dream has succeeded now, and many of the policies and the plans taken up by Ms. Anna Mani has been accepted worldwide. It has been recognized worldwide. She has been recognized also by many agencies within the country. She was the fellow of Indian National Science Academy, and she was also a fellow from Indian Meteorological Society, American Meteorological Society, American Geophysical Union, Royal Meteorological Society, Institution of Electronics and Telecoms Engineers, Solar Energy Society of India, International Solar Energy Society. She also received the INSA K.R. Ramanathan Medal. So we feel proud today being associated with Ms. Anna Mani. Because of our success, we are here. So this is our most important tribute to Miss Anamani by remembering her work and being the torchbearer. The work carried out by Miss Anamani will be the greatest tribute. So I request all the youngsters present here or outside joining online to be inspired and imbibe the dream, the plans, the prospects taken up by Miss Anamani for the future to ensure a sustainable development, to ensure a sustainable society in the face of this climate change. So with these few words, I also express my deep gratitude to Dr. R.R. Kelkar Sahab for agreeing to deliver a special lecture today honoring Ms. Anamani. I also thank Ralkar Sahab being present here and Asa Madam to speak a few words about the works and contributions of Ms. Anamani, which we will all of us will be benefited by this approach. So thank you very much, and I wish all of us will follow the path of Ms. Anamani to progress our not only instruments, but also the entire science of meteorology to serve the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insightful remarks and explaining the significant contributions of Ms. Annamani Madam. We are having our Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. M. Ravichandra, sir, who has joined this event virtually. I would like to invite respected Secretary, sir, to kindly address the gathering.
Very good afternoon, Dr. Kelkar Sahab, Dr. Krishnan, Dr. Nagalkar, Dr. Hosilkar, and Dr. Somasen Roy, and Dr. Ghosh present in the dais at IITM, and invitees, guests, friends, and colleagues sitting in the auditorium, and online Dr. Mahabatra, Dr. Asa Kovinath, and other invitees. Very good afternoon to all of you. Indeed, it is a great pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there in the physical presence at IITM, but having said that, I was eager to listen some of your experiences as well as about Ms. Annamani. As I know that she was a DDGM of IMD, and also she is a pioneer in instrumentations. As you all know that I always tell that the 4 pillars of weather forecasting comes from instrumentation, that means observations, understanding, modeling, and dissemination of forecast. The first pillar she started from very early. I think before we born, maybe in 1964, she think about the ozone zone type. Of course, that is the important instrumentation she start building, and that is when now we are thinking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, and I think she has started much earlier, and that instrument was instrumental in also not only in India but also measuring the profile of ozone in Antarctica in 1980s, and that data sets definitely it is contributed to, I think, who has got the Nobel laureate, I think Joseph Farman's Nobel Prize. He acknowledged about her contribution, the data from the Indian Antarctic stations. So that is very important that she thinks very big at that time. And also, as Dr. Mahabatra mentioned about the solar radiation measurements and its contribution for the non-renewable energy resources, I think she started observing, and now you know that Power Ministry always depend on IMD for getting the input, not only for the solar radiation, but also the wind at every half an hour they are able to provide that. So mainly because I think she initiated that in very long before, because of her green tech promotion from the 1960 onwards she started. Of course, she also not only for instrumentation, but also she has displayed a hunger for knowledge in various, not only physics, instrumentation and meteorology in various aspects. She has made significant contributions. I always remember in 1991, that time I was in IITM, that time in World Meteorological Organization's interview, she has mentioned that the importance of the observations and the measurements. She said that I believe that wrong measurements are worse than the measurements at all. That means no measurements at all. So the importance of measurements is the key for success of any weather forecast. She has made very significant remarks to all meteorological community, the importance of observations, the importance of instrumentation and its measurements. I also, that is the first time I learned, I started from my career as an instrumentation person at IITM. At that time, I learned some of the important keywords. What is the reliability? What is the precision? What is accuracy? And what is the resolutions? When I talk about this terminology, I always remember her because she thought that what is the accuracy means, what is the resolution means, and what is the precision and what is the various reliability and other things. So I think she is a very strong in instrumentation. She has done a lot of contribution to our meteorological community, and I thank IMD Pune especially for organizing such a memorial lecture on her name, and also I thank the speakers, right, Dr. Kelkar, Dr. Ragalkar, and also Dr. Asha for making presence you are here, and also to share some of your experience as well as some of the important contribution by her to the future generations of our meteorological community. With this, I once again thank each one of you, and also what is called contributing the 150 years of service to the nation by IMD on this particular year. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening and inspiring insights. Thank you for highlighting the importance of observations in weather and climate services, and also for sharing your experience, particularly in the field of instrumentation. Before proceeding further, I would like to request all the dignitaries present on the dais to please take their seats at the front row of the auditorium. It was our pleasure that these dignitaries joined the event and bestowed us by being our guest. I just request to the team to please make the arrangement for starting our memorial lecture. Before inviting our today's eminent speaker, Dr. R. Kelkar sir, former TGM IMD, for delivering Miss Annamani Memorial Lecture, I would like to give his brief introduction. Dr. R. Kelkar sir had served as Director General of India Meteorological Department, New Delhi during 1998 to 2003. After his retirement from IMD, he had served as ISRO Chair Professor at the Department of Atmospheric and Space Sciences, University of Pune from 2004 to 2008. He was also an elected member of the Executive Council of the World Meteorological Organization, Geneva. He has over 50 research publications to his credit and is a recipient of the Indian Journal of Meteorology and Geophysics Award and the J. Das Gupta Award. He is a great writer and speaker on matters related to meteorology. Your presence is warmly welcome, sir.
Thank you for that introduction. We have more people online and offline. Dr. Ravichandran, Dr. Mahapatra, Dr. Sridharan, hopefully. and Dr. Asha Gopinathan. Welcome to this program. We won't be able to see you, but you're there. People on the dais who are now there. So Dr. Krishnan, Dr. Hosalikar, Ms. Rahalkar, Dr. Somashen Senroy, Satyaban, and all friends, and of course, Dr. Lele is sitting there. My title is Life and Times of Miss Anna Mani. It's not her life as such, but the times in which she spent her life is something that we should be aware of. I'll speak for 20 minutes, maybe 25, not more than that. IMD was established in 1875, 150 years back. There's a lot of excitement in the air. But let me begin by saying that it took 73 years for IMD to find a woman to join IMD. It's been a long time. And since then, we have come a long way. In fact, I've been chatting with many people like Tara and Shoma and all, and it's a long time. But we are still far away from the goal. So let's see what Anna Mani did. There are 3 questions I put in here. What was Anna Mani's life and career like, number 1? Number 2, what is the significance of her work? And number 3, how can we enshrine her memory for the future? Because people like me remember her, people like you don't know her. So we should have a memory enshrined in some place. When you talk of big people, usually we start with their childhood, because that helps them to grow afterwards. And Anna was born in a place known as Pirmade in Kerala. It's a hill station. Some of you might have been there. And she was born to Christian parents. Worthwhile noting that she was the 7th of 8 children. She had 3 brothers and 2 sisters. So imagine how much time the parents would have given to this girl, 1/8, maybe less than that. So in spite of that, she became what she was. At that time, in 1918, 100 years ago, female literacy rate in India was 1%. It means that out of every 100 women, 99 women could not read or write. Only 1 in 100 could write in some language or read in some language. Most of the girls never went to school. They worked at home or they got married. And out of those who went to school, very few completed their studies. They're again married or kept at home. So this was the background in 1918 in which Anna grew up. She was little fortunate because her parents were well educated. Her father was an engineer, and Travancore was ruled by a very progressive royal family. In fact, you may be knowing that the first observatory in Trivandrum was set up not by the British but by the Maharaja of Travancore. So it was a progressive family, and education was free for girls in that time, at that time. And most of the girls studied up to high school level. So Anna went to 2 schools, His Highness Maharaja School for Girls in Trivandrum and Kristava Mahilalayam High School for Girls. So this was the school education which she completed. Anna developed a love for science, and she was fond of reading quite a lot. At the age of 7, what was she reading? She was reading the Encyclopedia Britannica at the age of 7, because there was no Google at that time, and for everything you have to read books. So at the age of 7, Anna read Encyclopedia Britannica. She grew up and then went to college, and 1934 to 1939, she was a student of Women's Christian College in Chennai for 2 years. Following that, she was at the Presidency College in Chennai for 3 years, and there she got a BSc honors degree in physics and chemistry in 1939. this was equivalent to a master's degree. Please remember this, I'm going to come back to it later on. So this was her 5 years of education at a time when 1% women were literate. In 1940, the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore gave her a scholarship, and she was offered to work under the guidance of none else than Sir C.V. Raman, the Nobel laureate. And the very fact that C.V. Raman chose Anna Marie shows her caliber. And she was there for 5 years, working under Sir C.V. Raman, and she worked there on rubies and diamonds. Mani in Marathi means a gem or a pearl. And it was fantastic that she did research on her own name. And she was a gem of a woman, no doubt about that. So she worked on fluorescence, absorption, and scattering of light in rubies, and polarization, scattering in diamonds. She worked for 5 years, produced 5 papers, and submitted her PhD thesis. But that administrative problem came up, that her BSc honors was not enough for a PhD. So the thesis remains in the library for us to read. So that was the things that she did until 1945. And then she was offered a scholarship to go to England. Nowadays, when you go abroad, you ask for a travel grant, go to a website like Make My Trip and book a ticket. This was not the things happening at that time, and she had to go to England on her own. So she went by ship. Even the ship journey was expensive. So 1945 was the end of the Second World War, and thousands of soldiers were going home. So she hopped onto a ship which were carrying 1,000 soldiers back and landed in London. So this was the journey from 45 to 48. What did she do in London? She went to the Imperial College, one of the finest colleges in London, and her choice was instrumentation, which was not very keen there. People there were not very keen on that. So they told her to go to the Met Office, the British Met Office in Harrow. And she worked on Met instruments in Harrow for some time. And finally, she went to the National Physical Laboratory in Teddington. Not NPL in Delhi, this is NPL in Teddington. So this was a 3-year stay in the UK, in which she kind of became a Met instrument expert. In the meantime, India had got independence. And 1947, things changed here. And she thought of coming back. And that was the time in 1948 when IMD got the first woman meteorologist in the country. That was the year. And when she joined what is called IS, instrument section, there were 121 men and 1 woman. So that was the scene those days. And by 1960, she was the director of instruments in Pune. From 1948 to 1976, 28 years, I think IMD made tremendous progress under Miss Mani. And that was the time when all our instruments came from England, like the Siemens rain gauge, Tynes anemograph, Asman cyclometer, things like that. That name's 14th barometer. So she said, well, make in India. I mean, what we are saying today as a slogan, she did it. She didn't have a slogan, she did it. And she said, let's make our own instrument. So manufacture, calibration, standardization is something that she introduced in IMD. And within her time, IMD virtually became self-sufficient in instrumentation. So that was her contribution. Another thing that was an epoch-making thing was India changed to the metric system in 1959. I mean, we used to talk about yards and furlongs and miles and so on, like women used to wear a paswari sari, nauwari sari. So we measured in yards and miles and furlongs. And the rainfall was in inches. temperature was in degrees Fahrenheit. She changed the whole thing, and it was quite a big thing to change the whole system from inches to millimeters and Fahrenheit to Celsius. So that was a major accomplishment that she achieved during her 28 years. She was also fond of letting her instruments do intercomparisons. She wanted to prove that they are fine. And there were several international comparisons under WMO. This is a photo of a WMO radiosun comparison in Bayern in Switzerland, 1956. And it's a very commonly seen photograph where she's holding her radiosound in her hand and holding it proudly, that this is an Indian radiosound. So she ensured that Indian instrument met global standards. And this is a classic picture. We often hear the word, it's a man's world. It is. It is a man's world. There are 16 men and 1 woman from India. So 16 men from 16 different countries holding the radio sounds, and our representative, a female, flaunting our radio sound, and this is our instrument. So this was something that happened in 1956, 75 years back. And she was successful in projecting India's image in the Met field. Mani's experience was globally renowned. She was the chairman of the WMO Commission Working Group on Radiation. She was a member of the International Radiation Commission. She was a member of the International Ozone Commission. She was a member of the International Commission on Atmospheric Electricity. All of these subjects were non-mainstream. I mean, no synoptic meteorologist would talk about ozone. It's today that we know the ozone hole, but in her time, people didn't know what ozone was. They didn't even know its spelling. They didn't know what radiation was, but she was working on these. So she established a network of ground and upper air stations in these subjects. And there's a lot of research that she did, published. 1962, she wrote about sunshine and solar radiation. Again, she wrote about the radiation in sun and sky in the International Geophysical Year. And she talked about ozone measured by chemical ozone sound. We are going to hear Dr. Sridharan in a short while about this. In 65, she also wrote about infrared radiative fluxes over India. 1967, in a standard journal, Archive Meteorology, distribution of global and net radiation over the Indian Ocean and its environments. When there were no satellites, she wrote about the Indian Ocean. TELUS, 1969, Angstrom stability parameter. Today we talk about Delhi getting smog. She was monitoring the air quality in 1969, far, far ahead of her times. Analyze the geophysic, variations in the vertical distribution of ozone over India. 1971, interesting evidence of stratospheric dust from electrical conductivity measurements. A variety of topics she was working on. 1973, variations in the vertical ozone profiles over India. 1973, pure and applied geophysics, problems of standardization of total ozone measurements. 1975, aircraft measurements of the albedo of the Earth's surface and of clouds. Today we talk about albedo, that paint the Earth white so it will reflect all the radiation and global warming will be. We were talking in these kind of things, but she was actually measuring the albedo in 1975. And this one of her last papers, 1975, in which I was a co-author. That's something that I can proudly say, that 1975, the paper was Mani Kelkar and Srinivasan, something I'd like to flaunt. It was about the effect of clouds and particulates on the radiation. 1960s were kind of a very crucial decade because there were 2 people, in fact, Syukuro Manabe of Japan, who got the Nobel Prize last year, and Kondraty of USSR, and they established that the radiative equilibrium of the atmosphere was responsible for maintaining its temperature. And this was the pioneering work that they did. And they also showed that the disequilibrium played a major role in the circulation processes. At that time in the 1960s, there were two groups working in Pune who were engaged in radiation work. One group was in IMD led by Ms. Anamani, and there were people like Dr. Sridharan, we'll be hearing from him, Srinivasan Desikan in that group. And they used to have radiometer sound, not radio sound, radiometer sound. And these were ascent that they made periodically in Pune, Trivandrum and Delhi to measure radiative fluxes at various levels. There was another group in ITM, not IITM, ITM, there was no Indian at that time. And this was led by Ramesh Godbole. And this was engaged in computer simulations of the fluxes using model atmospheres. We had Dr. Murakami of Japan with this, and I was a member of that group, also a PhD student at that time. Ironically, these two groups at Pune never met. One was in Ramdurga's, one was in IS, and we never met. But it was much later to have the privilege that Ms. Mani asked me to join her. And her observations and my computation was something that we compared. And that led to the paper of 1975, Effects of Clouds and Particulates on Infrared Radiative Fluxes in the Atmosphere over India. This was published in Mosam, IJMHG at that time. Our collaboration ended there because I worked in agricultural meteorology and Ms. Mani was DDG in Delhi. And she retired very soon. So this was the time that we made a paper, and that was the end of it. And Ms. Mani retired in 1976 from Delhi and joined Raman Research Institute in Bangalore, somewhere where she had started with Raman. After retirement, she went back to Raman Research Institute in 1978. And she did some monumental work, 2 volumes. Handbook of Solar Radiation Data for India, 1981, and Wind Energy Resource Survey of India, 1992. These 2 books have now become a Bible. Anyone who wants to work in renewable energy has to read these 2 books. It has all the data because she had set up the networks and she used that data herself for producing these 2 books. So this was something really monumental, seminal work that she did. 78 to 82. We come to 1994, which is a bit of nostalgia. 18 years after Ms. Mani had retired, I was appointed as DDG Instruments in Delhi. This is the office where it was, the red building on Lodi Road. And when I entered my office, I saw her name on the roll of honor on the wall. And I was supposed to occupy that chair, which she had occupied once. And that was something so kind of emotional for me, because taking a chair which is occupied by such a legendary figure, you feel so small and humble in front of that. So that's what happened, and I felt humbled and also inspired that I should do something. This was 1994. 2018 was Anamani's birth centenary year. And the next year, there was a calendar made by an NGO, Women in Science. And in the month of August 2019, there was a caricature of Miss Anamani. And this was the first time that Miss Mani came before in the public domain, outside the meteorological community. This was in 2019. And 2022, she was on Google Doodle. And this was for the whole world. Anybody who logged in on Google for a search will see Miss Mani's doodle. So this was a complete globalization of her work, recognized by the whole world, not only by India, but the whole world. And this was in 2022. This, I don't know who made this doodle, but it shows Miss Mani with her radio sound and wind vane and so on. But the next year she was in geography textbooks. This is the story of a weather woman of India, ICAC geography book of standard 7. And she came in a cartoon or a caricature form in textbooks. There's a book about book published by the Indian Academy of Science in 2008, Leelavati's daughters, women scientists of India, and you know who Leelavati was. She was the daughter of Bhaskaracharya and supposed to be more intelligent than her father. And these two ladies wrote a book, Women Scientists of India, in which there was an article written by Abhas Sur of MIT, an appreciation of Anamani. So this is downloadable, you can get it on the internet. And in 2016, the Astronomical Society of India instituted the Anamani lecture series. It's not the Indian Meteorological Society, remember that. It's the Astronomical Society of India. If somebody from IMS is here, please note that the honor came not from the IMS, but from the ASI. And they instituted a lecture series in a name. The reason was that they made it a part of the ASI working group on gender equity. And the aim is to promote gender sensitization in the astronomy community of India. So this is how Miss Mani became a global figure far beyond the Met community. And very eminent speakers have given those lectures. In fact, the most recent lecture was given on 11th December, this month, by Professor Lisa Cooley, astrophysicist from Harvard and Smithsonian. And she talked about gender parity in astrophysics. There's a nice video about Anamani, you can watch it on YouTube, Women of RRI by Prajwal Shastri. And MOES instituted an Anamani Award for women scientists in 2018. The first award went to Dr. Kushila Rajendran, seismologist from Center for Earth Science and Studies in Trivandrum. The next year it went to Dr. C. Manikamba, geochemist, National Geographic Research, Geophysical Research Institute in Hyderabad. And 2020, Dr. Tara Prabhakaran, who is here with us, the cloud physicist of IIT Pune, Dr. Vandana Prasad, paleoscientist of BSIP Lucknow, and Dr. Lidita Khandeparkar, bio-oceanographer in Goa. Thereafter, no awards have been given. I hope Dr. Ravichandran is listening to me online. So after 2020, no awards were given for reasons only Secretary MOES knows. I don't know. So this is that. And there are two quotes from Miss Mani that I'd like to repeat here. One was what Miss Mani said. Never forget that there can be no synoptic meteorology, no weather forecasting, no climatology without instruments and measurements. There's something that she has said. And another sentence, technological development determine the rate of advance of scientific theory because they have the raw material, that is data. This is something that is very relevant to today when we hear of modeling. This is something that we should keep in mind and hear. This is my third question. How do you enshrine the memory of such a legend? If I were in control, I wish I were, I would set up an Anamani Center for Instrumentation Development, but I'm not in control. So please take it from me as a request. Make an Anamani Center for Instrumentation Development. Make it a state-of-art development place where people will go and produce something, make in India, and give it to the world. This is something that I would like to do. If you can't do it, at least name a building after her. IMD has so many buildings, IIT has so many buildings. Name a building after Anamani. So when we enter it, we think that we are entering a hallowed place, a holy place. At least name a conference hall in her memory. So we can say this meeting will be in Anamani Conference Hall. And if you can't do that even, in Mosam Bhavan, when you enter, there are 30 photographs of old people like me. I'm also there in that. All men. Let there be one picture of a woman when you enter Mosam Bhavan. Please try to do that. When you go back, give this suggestion to someone. And if Ravichandran is listening to me, MOES should restore the Anamani Award. This is directly for him. So this is something that I would like to suggest. But there is one thing which I would really like to do? How do you enshrine the memory of a legend? It's simple. Next time you have an event, let all the people on the dais be women. Let the men bring the nariyals and the shawls on a tray. And let all the men sit on the audience, even people like me, sit in the audience and respect them. This will be a real enshrining memory of Anna Marie. What was Anna Marie as a person? I knew her, I can say that. She was a nationalist, very proud of India. Her instruments made her, but this is my instrument, it's worldwide accepted. It's accurate, it's precise. She took pride in being an Indian. She remained a spinster. She had no time for anything else except her work. And she expected the same diligence. Rahalkar is here and he'll tell us how she expected things from him. Sridharan will also tell us. But she rewarded people who did the effort and achieved some things. And this is my last slide. Occasionally, she would burst into resounding laughter. Everybody could hear. If Miss Mani laughed, the whole floor would hear when she laughed. But this is a picture that I have. Here she is having that resounding laughter and entertaining 6 other foreigners in Japan. And they are listening and smiling. So this is the picture which I leave for you, that enjoy your work. And that's the end here. 16th August, she passed away, but legends don't die, they live on. Thank you. Shall I go down now?
A great thanks to you, sir, for your insightful and inspiring lecture. We are truly fortunate to have experienced such a thought-provoking presentation that describes the life story of Miss Anna Mani Madam and illuminates the lasting impact of ma'am's contributions and provides us with much to contemplate. Next, we have a special segment, Memories with Miss Anna Mani Madam, a tribute by Dr. Shri R. Sridharan sir, former DDGM, SI IMD Pune, through a heartfelt video. Dr. Shri R. Sridharan sir is a distinguished environmental scientist and former DDGM SI IMD. He has made significant contributions to atmospheric research, particularly in the field of atmospheric ozone. He had also led the IMD's prestigious scientific expedition to the South Pole, showcasing his leadership and expertise in extreme environments. He had an opportunity to collaborate with Miss Anna Mani Madam in ozone research. Together, they worked on advancing ozone measurement techniques, particularly using the ozone spectrophotometer. Their efforts significantly improved the precision of ozone monitoring and contributed to a deeper understanding of atmospheric ozone. Let us now watch this special video.
Head Regional Meteorological Center, Kulaba. Sir, I am very happy to see you here, and I would like to tell the very happy thing that India Meteorological Department is celebrating 150 years of services to the nation, and you have a very great contribution to the India Meteorological Department. Sir, can you share your experience after joining the department till retirement? What type of activities you have noticed in the IMD, and how IMD has progressed till?
Yes, luckily IMD was never stagnant, because like the weather, it is unpredictable. So there were plenty of opportunities for anyone who wants something new, something challenging to be taken up and do it, and then have a great time.
Sir, you are in IMD, you are recognized as an ozone man. So can you share some experience about your ozone experiment, ozone ascent, and how it is helpful to the general public?
Yes, that's very simple. I designed the ozone sound, which can fly up to 25 kilometers above the ground and give you a complete profile of ozone. That's my contribution. I don't know whether you heard of Dr. K.R. Ramanathan. He was Sir C.V. Raman's nephew. He is the one who was in the department, IMD, and after retirement he is in Ahmedabad. And he is the one who somehow was on very good terms with Anamani, and he will tell her if he has some dreams of measuring something new which has not been taken up so far. So ozone measurement was not taken up. And so Dr. Ramanathan told Miss Mani, and I know how he will be telling, Anna, this is not enough. Now ozone, this is so important. Why don't you get someone to do that, measure it? I am very keen to do that. Yes. That's the beginning of the ozone studies. We hired, Anamani hired a man from Wilson College, Bombay, worked for about 3 months, brought number of instruments to Pune, and not one of them worked. And I have been seeing that. All that 3 months I was there, posted there. They had come to Pune to work. So when I saw that, I said, come on, man, I should do that. So the preliminary experiments on the sensor, I did it every day, come to the office and concentrate on that. What professor was missing, what he is doing wrong, and I wanted to avoid all that. So I mentally made up my mind that I am going to design the sensor. Rest all I don't care. Which equipment I am using to receive the chamber or transmitter, all that is available. Don't do rediscovering all the things which are already existing and waste your time. You concentrate on the sensor. How you will measure the atmospheric ozone. If a quantity of air is sucked into some liquid, what is the way you will detect the ozone in that air? That you understand, and do your work based on that. So that became the main effort. How will you transfer the number of molecules of ozone that goes into potassium iodide solution? Each ozone molecule in the air will create 2 atoms of iodine in this thing, and that is easy to detect. So that is what is to be done. You concentrate on how will you detect it correctly and then transmit it into a transmitter and then get it down from the balloon.
Okay, so what you will say about the ozone layer now?
It is to be monitored throughout your life. Because we are talking about ozone, which if it comes down to the ground, it will be only this thick, 4 millimeters thick. And that presence of this 4 millimeters above at 25 kilometers, it is scattered all over 25 kilometers round. But for that, the injurious sunlight will come down and kill all the living organisms. So it is this 4 millimeters of ozone that spreads, that doesn't stay on the ground, that goes up to 25 kilometers and spreads there. And there it is shielding the bad part of the sunlight and doesn't allow it to come down.
Can you please share your experience with Dr. Annamani, madam, because you have worked with her for some time?
Yes, certainly. It's a pleasure to talk about those days. Well, she was a different type of boss. And she had that name for being very strict, very methodical, and expects a lot from her staff. So I was prepared for that when I chose to work with her. When I started working under her, that's a time when Miss Mani wanted somebody to measure ozone. So she was wanting somehow or rather the project to be carried out. And then one evening we were going from the office. We were late goers, so we don't rush out of the office. And I found Miss Mani just getting down from the office behind her. Then we said, "What are you doing here?" Like that. And I said, no, I was just doing something. What were you doing? Then I said, Madam, I think I can do this measurement of ozone. If you give me the job, I can do it. What? She couldn't believe that. Because she has hired a man from Wilson College, Bombay to do that job, and 3 months nothing has happened.
Okay.
And I am saying that I'll do that job. That was an audacity on my side, but that was characteristic of my basic approach to things. If you can do it, you'd say that you can do it. So I said, I can do it. Anyway, to make a long story short, I gave her the product exactly within 30 days of making that statement.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So what are her innovation in surface instrument for Make in India project?
Yeah, it's not only in surface instruments. Her responsibility was pretty much wider than just surface instruments. Surface instruments were routine. They were already existing. There was not much of new creativity and all that. But study of the atmosphere was a new challenge. And that involved a lot of very, very smart instrumentation. And I had been transferred to the Pune office to work under Miss Mani after 6 years of spending my time in IMD.
I would like to ask about your experience in Mumbai. You said that you are posted in Mumbai airport also. So what is your experience at Mumbai airport? What type of work meteorologist has to do at the Mumbai airport, especially for aviation services?
So when I was working in Bombay airport, the radar maintenance was absolutely play for me. I was very good in recovering an instrument, and I had no problem whatsoever. In fact, the Delhi group, which takes care of the radar in Bombay, also was very angry with me that I never called them in 2.5 years to come and look at their radar. So that tells everything.
Sir, in addition to weather forecasting, instrumentation, ozone observation, ozone balloon, what are the other activities you used to do? I heard that you were loving very much about the trees and plants. Whenever you go upstairs, you used to see all the plants and all these things. How you used to maintain office, and what are the other activities you used to do apart from our scientific activities?
That's true. I enjoyed the office work, but I enjoyed the plans around much more, because that continues now. Office is now behind me, but still it gives me great pleasure to attend to the all types of nature.
Yes, sir. I have noticed you when you used to come to the office, when you are going to a DDGM's cabin. So before going to that cabin, you used to look after 3-4 plants, you clean the leaves, and then you used to enter. Yeah. So I have seen your love about the plants, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very fond of it, and I still enjoy that.
What message you would like to give it to the all new upcoming meteorologists?
Yes, many do not realize that it is a wonderful department which gives a remarkable uh, amount of challenging things to be solved, and people who are interested in a career can find out beautiful areas of working and then make it a lifetime experience.
Sir, I would like to know the secret at this age also, how you are so active.
Good question. But that's a weakness with me. Just from the childhood, I should be doing something. It is nothing part of my great blessing given by my mother. I have her genes and I have her attitudes. I have her sense of right and wrong, everything. So when I am in trouble, even today, my mother is no more. After 101 years, she quit, but then she is still there around with me.
Okay. Sir, one last question. So, how you spend your retirement lives actively?
I am very fond of the open.
Okay.
Yeah, and I am pretty good in grafting roses, into the wild rose plant and all that. I have perfected the technique of transplant, and even people who have spent many years in doing that work were
not able to do like you do it.
No, they were surprised to see how simple I take it, how simplified I have made that act of making roses,
Okay.
So there is absolutely no boredom in my life.
Very nice, sir.
Absolutely no boredom. Plants. And then plants I plant wherever I go, I'll plant, and I have no space, then I'll do it on the windows.
Sir, thank you very much for giving your valuable time, and really I thank you on the behalf of IMD Mumbai. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure is mine too. You made my day also. Thank you.
Sir, I would like to felicitate with the trophy.
For all of your information, I would like to tell you that Dr. Shriya Sridharan sir is now 91 years old. So please give a big round of applause for giving this much time and experience, sharing his experiences. Thank you very much, sir, for generously sharing your personal reflections and memories of working with the iconic Miss Annamani Madam, and for offering us a valuable glimpse into the life and legacy of extraordinary scientist. A special thanks to Sri S.G. Kamble sir, Head RMC Mumbai, for his invaluable support and efforts, because this video would not have been possible without his dedication and contribution. We are privileged to have Dr. Asha Gopinathan Madam joining us today via video conference. She is author of the upcoming biography of Miss Annamani Madam, which is expected to be published in the month of January 2025. Dr. Asha Gopinathan Madam completed her undergraduate studies in IIT Delhi, after which she moved to the United States to pursue graduate studies in neurobiology. She has worked in both experimental and computational neuroscience. Returning to India, she has worked in IISc Bangalore and Sri Chitra Institute of Medical Sciences, Thiruvananthapuram, while continuing to pursue her interest in the history of science. Writing a biography was so far from her until she realized how little young people knew about women in science. I now invite her to share her invaluable insights into the life and legacy of Miss Annamani Madam. she's unmute. इसका speaker on करो.
Online is able to hear, but what about the others? Can they hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now.
They will be able to hear.
Okay.
Somebody has
I'm assuming you can hear me. I'm assuming you can hear me. So I'd like to thank all of you for thinking about me, especially Dr. Hosalikar, who discovered that I was sitting in this remote part of India and writing a biography of Anna Mani, and called me up last month to see whether I would participate in this program. For a variety of reasons, virtual participation is all that I can do right now. But I'm hoping that once the book is out, we are definitely planning a real physical launch in Pune, and I will be there with the book and with many of the people who have helped me write this book. It's taken a long time. Some of you must have decided that I have. Is the sound okay? It's not clear to me whether the sound is okay. Some of you must have given up on me. But no, the COVID years took its toll, but otherwise I have been at it. The manuscript has been with the National Book Trust for the past 2 years, and they're slowly working on it. And I'm really hoping that in January 2025, the actual physical book will be in our hand. It's called Anna Mani, the Uncut Diamond. So what I decided to do today, one second, let me share my screen. Okay, so what I decided to do today was, as many of the speakers before me have actually known her very well, and they're also part of the inner circle of the meteorological group who do meteorological work, and I don't. I have decided just to focus on Anna Mani and her life in IMD Pune. I call it Pune because when she was there, it was Pune, and when later I also switched to Pune. I do the same with Bangalore. I say Bangalore or Bengaluru and so on and so forth. This is what I do in the book. So the reason I picked this is because in 1948, as people have said, Anna finished her postdoc in England and returned to India. And she got a job as meteorological grade 2 in IMD. Now, some have said that she could have continued working in the UK and so on and so forth. She was actually very reluctant to go to the UK. And it was a great difficulty that she went to the UK for a postdoc. And when she came back, IMD was the obvious choice because IMD was the obvious choice for many physicists in those days. Many of Raman's students, his top-notch physics students, joined the IMD. And K.R. Ramanathan's name has been mentioned, and so was S.K. Banerjee, and many others. The only job that Indians had before independence was IMD, actually. And so Anna was one of the last few to join the IMD. And after that practice of top-notch physicists joining IMD, I think reduced, perhaps it was a problem for the IMD later. I'm not sure. I'm not one to assess that, but I have a sense that could have happened when people moved into academic institutions, the CSIR labs, TIFR, IAC, and so on and so forth. So anyway, so for Anna, she comes here. And then her father, who was an engineer, very well-known engineer, was very worried that here's this young woman, she's going to Pune, she's going to be Pune, and she's going to be all alone. So he goes with her, and he goes to meet S.P. Venkateswaran, who is a very prominent figure, and people should not forget him. And he goes to meet them and his family in their home, and they had a huge British colonial house there. And they met SPV and Chelamal, his wife. And her father explained, my daughter is coming here, she's all alone, she's never been outside Kerala, and she's only been to England, so on and so forth. So the SPV immediately, the family took her under their wing. And what happens is that they move to one floor of that huge colonial bungalow and give Anna the other floor. And I'm not sure whether this happens in IMD anymore, but certainly in those days, these things did happen. And SPV continued to be a fantastic mentor for her. And this word has not been used in this talk, in this set of talks till now. And one of the reasons behind Anna's spectacular success in the IMD was SPV. I have no doubt in saying that. And I wish I had an SPV in my scientific career. One who immediately saw her potential, scientific and leadership, and it was very obvious that he was grooming her to take over once he left, which is what she did eventually. And many others have mentioned the kind of work that she did when she was there. But one of the things I want to say is that she loved to work with her hands. And even before she went to Raman's lab, she spent 1 year as an instructor in WCC, that's Women's Christian College in Chennai, then Madras. And she built a lot of instruments there, which I think is still available. You can see them in their museum there. And then she comes here and she starts building instruments. And till 1943, India was just had British instruments which were being imported. In 1943, when SPV became part of the instrument section, he decided to indigenize it. It was his idea actually, and a lot of excellent equipment was brought in from outside. They had some of the best workshop facilities, so that private firms would come from Bombay and Pune to use their facilities. So here, this is again. What is happening? I don't understand what's happening.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Okay, then she has an emphasis on accuracy in measurements. This has also been mentioned by others before me, that she was very clear that unless and until you made accurate measurements, you cannot get accurate results, and nothing that you do can be believed. And there is no use having huge supercomputers and other things and modeling unless and until the data you fit into it is accurate data. So this emphasis is something that she insisted right from the beginning, and she insisted this in the workshop also, with which she was actively involved. So she says, and this is an interview she gave to Taba for the WMO Bulletin in 1991. She says, I still place measurements first. Neither models nor supercomputers can give reliable short and medium range forecasts unless their input of observed data is reliable. She had a very hands-on approach. She herself did a lot of the measurements. She took readings. I mean, she was very hands-on. Every morning she would come into her first round would be in the workshop, and it was only after that she would go into her office and start doing the other work that she had to do. And this is from Desikan, who passed away a few months ago. This is a quote from him. He says, like her predecessor, SPV, Miss Mani would also undertake field work. In the initial stages of the radiation network activity, she herself carried out field calibrations from sunrise to sunset. And this is a photograph shared by her niece. I'm not sure where it was taken, but it's pretty obvious that she is taking some measurements herself. Now, this is, I think, the most important thing that she did there was she was able to bridge the workshop and the scientific work. And this bridge building was very, very crucial and important. And she was able to do it because she treated the workers as much a part of the scientific enterprise as the scientific staff. And every morning, as I said before, I met some of those workers, and they said that, we would be, standing around and talking and whatever, and suddenly Anna's dog would come in, because the dog would come first, and they would know she's about to arrive, and so they'd all go to their desks, and she would come, and she spent a couple of hours every morning. The first thing she did was to spend 2 hours at least in the workshop. She talked to everybody, she found out their problems, she found out what the work they were doing, whether there's any improvement, whether there need to be changes, everything. And then she also checked the bathrooms. This is very important. She checked the bathrooms to make sure they were there and they were clean. And this is something that people don't understand, but it's a very important part of it. And again, I quote from Desikan, she knew the family particulars of every individual in her office, even of the mechanics and the mazdoors. She used to fund the expenses on studies of the children of select and needy staff. And what he has written further is that she didn't give them money directly, but she would buy them books and other things that the children needed. In addition to the scientific work and the other things that she did in Pune, Pune was a place which was home to her. It became home for about 21 years, out of which 2 years she was in Delhi and the US. But she had a lot of friends there. Friends from her IIC days, friends from Suniti Namjoshi, the writer, was her friend, and she had friends who were colleagues, as well as their wives, especially their wives. She was very, very friendly with all the wives of the women, of the male scientists, and their children. Now, this is a letter, a postcard given to me by Revati Narayan, daughter of Kalyana Sundaram. And this is what she writes. She writes in typed letter so that Revati, who was 6 years old when she got it, could read it. Thank you for your nice letter. This is the plane in which I flew from Geneva to Paris and in which I go to London. I shall be back in Pune on 27/1956. I hope you, Kala and Geeta, are well and happy. Office Mommy. So Office Mommy was a lovely person around the children. She had a Morris Minor, and she took these kids for long drives to Khadakwasla. They had ice cream. They would sing big songs in the car as they went. She was a lovely musician, by the way. And then Office Mommy also inspired them in many ways. She had a lovely library. They could go to her house and use the library. She came back with lots of stories about foreign countries and any of her travels and made them laugh. So they all loved Office Mommy, and we met early February, some of us met, and again, I heard those stories from them. How was Anna able to raise Pune to an international stature? She was able to do it because of her own international stature. And this came for a variety of reasons. She was chairing committees, as has been said before, in radiation, ozone, all sorts of parameters. And then she also managed to convert Pune into the place which was the hub for national studies in radiation and ozone and regional in the Asian region. She helped a lot of developing countries. Their scientists would come and train in Pune. And so she was an international figure. And that internationalism of hers she was nationalist, but at the same time an international figure also. And as a result of it, IMD Pune rose to very high standards. And when C.V. Raman once visited, he looked at some of the instruments and said that he feels like he is in Carl Zeiss in Germany. I mean, that's the quality of stuff that they were making and the data that they were producing then. So Desikan again, the radiation experts from India who visited Davos in later international perihelimeter comparisons were treated with warmth and extended all facilities. This was possible only due to Miss Mani standing at international levels. This is a photograph I took in February 2019 when I visited IMD Simla office. And you can see from here that she is the longest serving director, 1960 to 69. Before her, after that, it's always been men, I think, till now. And there's been no one who served for such a long time. And why is that so? It's her scientific prowess, her vision for the division and for science in general, her administrative acumen. She was a fantastic listener. And a lot of people say that she threw a tantrum, and she did throw a tantrum at times. But at the same time, she would listen to people, and she would actually be able to figure out what exactly that person was good at and put them in that area, or move them gently in that area, into that direction. And she was immensely kind. She never hurt anybody. Someone in her power could have destroyed people by writing things in their files. She just never did that. So I wrote this because I wanted young people to know about her. And I also wonder, young people today, would they want to even read this book? I have given it to 5 young people to read it and give me some feedback. And that feedback was very valuable for me while writing the book. But this is what Anna says in her interview to Taba. Young people nowadays neither seek nor need advice, least of all from someone of another generation. But since the question is framed in an impersonal way, I feel I can venture to say, we have only one life. First, equip yourself for the job, make full use of your talents, and then love and enjoy your work, making the most of being outdoors and in contact with nature. And I just hope that when the book is ready, it will be read by young and old, and that it will be a valuable book for them. Now, my suggestion is, in the 150 years of IMD, you should definitely create an archive and a museum, because you have a lot of things kept there that I saw. There's a room stuffed with old equipment, and it is not kept in the way it should be kept. And there's another one in that big building where I saw the ozone sound and all sorts of other instruments. But you should hire professional archivists, historians, and museologists, and last slide, gender in IMD. People have talked about, I don't know whether the slide is very visible, so let me try to zoom in a little bit. Both data is from IMD only, and this is from 2009. And you see that women, those days it wasn't the ABCD category, it was the old way of doing things. And you can see that women are in the SO, which is I think the senior observer category, 11.5, then they reduce as you keep going up. Of course, the men also reduce, but the number of women continues to be small, and the percentage of directors is only 4.1%. In 1962, the women were all in clerical positions. Anna was the only one who was in a scientific position. The other women were all clerks. After that, you got some observers and senior observers. Now, let's look at this one. And this one is from 2022. And here you have the worker category, and you see that there are absolutely no women in the worker category except in one mechanic grade 2 and 4% in radio mechanic or something. And here again, you see the same pattern. And by the time you read DG, it is practically zero. And some of the interesting data that I found out is that even though 80% of women today do their PhD while they are in the IMD, as opposed to just 2% of men, their movement within the system is very slow. So Anna cannot be taken as a classic example. She just breezed through the system in ways that are, for me, I have to still understand how she managed to do it. SPV was certainly one factor. The fact that she worked with Raman was another. The fact that she was brilliant and good is all there. But I also think the national movement opened up a certain space at that point where someone like her could survive. And my last slide is, one second. This is Anna sitting with her dogs. She loved dogs. And she was fortunate enough to live in huge bungalows with lots of space for them to play around. Her Sunanda Bai, her devoted housekeeper, and Bahadur looked after the dogs when she was traveling internationally. And she loved nature. She loved bird watching. And she seemed like a cool and fun person to be around. Frankly speaking, I wish I had met her. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your enlightening and inspiring insights. Your commitment to preserving and sharing the remarkable story of Ms. Annamani madam through the forthcoming biography is truly praiseworthy. Today, we are having Sri C.G. Rahalkar, sir, former director IMD Pune, with us. He joined IMD on 12 July 1965 as a scientific assistant in the office of the Director Instruments in Pune. Under the guidance of Miss Annamani madam, he worked in the Solar Radiation Laboratory, where he gained valuable experience and laid a strong foundation for his career. He later contributed to the development of solar radiation instruments and research, becoming part of the regional center of the WMO's RA2 working group. I now invite Sri C.G. Rahalkar sir, former director IMD Pune, to share his insightful experiences of working with the esteemed Miss Annamani madam.
I joined the department on 12 July 1965. That time, then, our admin officer, T.K. Vishwanathan, actually he took me to director, Miss Annamani, and introduced me. There actually, she first asked that you are 22 years old, so now you have to put up 36 years of service. You have to work hard, first thing, and not hardly, like that she told. Immediately she called, I will post you to radiation laboratory, central radiation laboratory. Call Mr. Chako, who is actually the chief of the central radiation laboratory. Then Mr. Chako came there. She told him, yes, I am giving you a young hand for help. Then go to laboratory. Immediately I had to go their solar radiation laboratory. Now, slowly now we have seen that how much this subject is important and special laboratory. So, slowly actually, I started doing work. And her habit used to be, she used to come make a round to all the laboratories. And one of the laboratories she used to sit. Slowly officers used to come there and she used to discuss there actually for hours together, sometimes in 10-15 minutes, giving sometimes some instructions. That we used to hear sometimes the discussion on some scientific subjects. Though this opportunity I got it. Now working hard is the main job actually. But our 1 year always used to be whatever discussion is going on, etc. Now afterwards actually I concentrated slowly towards the calibration work and devoted to mainly the inspection of various actually stations. The solar radiation network stations, first it was 5 only, then developed to 16, and finally when I retired it came to 40 radiation station network. So our main job was actually mainly to maintain the station. And she told also that the instruments, not only data, but that it should be reliable data. So every year we used to keep a check on those calibrations, etc., how much data is reliable. So that was our main responsibility. Reliable data is very important. And other observation I used to keep, and I always. Finally, when I became director, 6 years I was there. So every then it was independent. Then now after around 1980, she was in Raman Institute. That time she called there. I visited. Then she told Rahalkar about some instruments. She asked me to give the report. Then I gave the report after checking those instruments. Now, afterwards she told, having come to the Raman Institute, what we have to do? First, actually, you visit particular, that see his huge collection of various gems, etc., how they are used for scientific work, actually. Then I got a golden chance, actually, to see the huge collection of various jewels. Then Dr. Radhakrishnan was there. He told, this cost around 4 to 5 crores of these jewels. I got to see the original spectrometer made, constructed by Dr. C.V. Raman actually. Then other thing means actually, whenever she was in, up to 69, she was in Pune. Afterwards, she got transferred to Delhi as DDM instruments. Then her first instructions were, whoever comes from Pune, you have to visit me. Without visiting me, actually, you can't go back, actually. And right from very low staff to all, any officers, actually. And then she used to ask about your comforts, etc. Once it happened, actually, during May 1972, we 4 officers were called, actually, Mr. Deshikan, Chako, myself, and our Group D staff. Actually, the plan was to establish a station at Srinagar, solar radiation station. So with all equipment, during the summer, we went to Delhi. And at the same time, some research papers also, research paper work also was going on. 4 papers we had to send. So, going to Srinagar, main job was going to Srinagar and early papers. These 2 things were there. I was asked actually to take some observations, that is the albedo measurements at various underlying surfaces. Morning 8:30 to 9 we used to go there, and in various places underlying, like a desert, grassy surface, etc. And then she told, having come to Delhi, you don't know how much it is hot. So every time, Ralkar, you have to, before exposing yourself, you drink 1 or 2 glasses of water first. So otherwise, it is very difficult. You may face sunstroke also. So I mean to say that when you go for work, actually, the other part is comfort. That also used to be important. All these things, actually, I am proud of these things that I got a chance to work under her for 4.5 years. And that was a very firm base, I can say, for my later services throughout the year. And we don't fail anything working 8 hours together. So thanks to my Ms. Anamani, actually, to post me to Central Radiation Laboratory afterwards. Other things are going on, actually. I don't have to this much work, actually, I wanted to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your memories with us. Now it's time to felicitate some of the IMD officials. So for felicitation, I would like to request Hoshalikar sir to please come on the stage. And so first I would like to request Hoshalikar sir to kindly felicitate Dr. R.D. Vasist sir, former DDGM, SI Pune, was closely worked and the instrumentation. We are fortunate that we are having 2 officials physically present here who was worked in the workshop, and during their tenure the workshop flourished globally, nationally as well as globally. So I would like to request Hoshalikar sir to kindly felicitate Shri D.L. Shinde. Please give him a big round of applause. Now, I request sir to felicitate Shri B.V. Lele. However, only 2 officials are physically present here, but there were so many workshop people who were closely associated with the Anamani madam, and they have done a great contributions in the instrumentation. So I request you all to please give them all a big round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite Dr. Kripan Ghosh sir to please come forward and propose the vote of thanks.
All the dignitaries joining online and offline, and on and off the dais. Good afternoon to you all. As we came to the end, it is my privilege to extend a vote of thanks in the event of Annamani Memorial Lecture and release of souvenir. To begin with, I am extremely thankful to Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary, Ministry of Art Sciences, and Dr. Mrityunjay Mahapatra, Director General of Meteorology, for granting approval to organize the workshop and for their blessing messages. Mahapatra sir has been instrumental in making the event a reality, starting from conceptualization up to formulation of the program. I am highly thankful to Ravi Chandran sir and Mahapatra sir for joining us through video conference and adding depth to our discussions and explaining the contributions of Miss Mani Madam. I do express my sincere gratitude to Dr. R.R. Kelkar, former Director General of Meteorology, who has kindly consented to grace the occasion and deliver Miss Annamani Memorial Lecture. Thank you very much, sir, for enriching us with your such informative lecture, and we learned a lot. Really, I was knowing something, but I was not knowing so many things, and it has encouraged us that how we'll be working. I'm also highly thankful to Dr. R. Krishnan, Director IITM, Sri K. Sosalikar, Head CR&S, and Dr. Soma Senroy, IMD New Delhi, for addressing the enthusiastic gathering. Sosalikar sir is behind every success of this event with his constant support, guidance, and inspiration. My special gratitude also goes to Dr. C.R. Sridharan, former DDGM SI Division, Rahalkar sir, former Director IMD Pune. Actually, when I joined, within 1 year, he has retired, and I have been trained through him in radiation and all. When he was there, I was discussing with him. And also to Dr. Asha Gopinathan, senior author, who is presently writing the biography of Annamani Madam, for her insightful reflections on Miss Annamani's life and legacy. Interactions with these distinguished personalities prior to this event have given necessary encouragement for organizing this event. And in this regard, special thanks are due for Sri S.G. Kamble, Head RMC Mumbai, for his constant support for collecting the memories from Sridharan sir. I am also highly thankful to Dr. Ashish Lele, Director National Chemical Laboratory Pune, to kindly accepted our invitation to grace the occasion. I also take this opportunity to thank all the esteemed guests from the institutions like IITM, CDAC, NDRF, IMSP, SPPU, NCDEX, and others, whose participations underscores the collective respect and admiration for Miss Annamani's works and legacy. It is highly noteworthy to mention about the support of Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology for generously providing the Meghdut Auditorium and excellent facilities enabling to host this event. My sincere thanks are also due to all the officials from various offices of IMD Pune and retired officers of IMD, as well as close associates who worked with Annamani, a few were there, her family members and relatives who joined online, and also for their gracious presence in today's function. I'm thankful to the officers and staff members of various offices of IMD New Delhi and Pune, as well as IITM, who have worked extremely hard during last couple of weeks to make the event successful. I am also grateful to media friends for their wide coverage and publicity. There are many others who have helped us in our logistic and physical arrangement, hospitality, and finally with their well wishes. I thank every member of the local organizing committee for their untiring efforts to organize the meeting. Last but not the least, I thank all the audience, online and offline, and who are already present here, for their participations, which have made this event truly memorable. Let us take inspiration from Annamani Madam's remarkable journey and continue to strive for excellence in our respective fields for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As we conclude this meaningful gathering in honor of Miss Annamani Madams, I kindly request you all to rise and join in the singing of our national anthem, a tribute to our nation and lives.
भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल उत्कलवङ्गा विन्ध्य हिमाचल यमुना गङ्गा उच्चल जलधितरङ्गा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशिष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
जय जय जय। Before proceeding for the lunch, I kindly request everyone to please proceed outside the auditorium for a group photograph for making this moment even more memorable. So please join us outside the auditorium, please. Thank you so much.